Webinar is now streaming live on Facebook.
Yay.
Woot woot. There we are.
Cool.
Perfect. I love it. Okay. Hey, guys. Hey, Ashley. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I am fantastic. So today we are talking about the question I posted yesterday. What is more important, people craving sex or people enjoying the sex that they're having? That's what we're talking about today.
Yes, fun stuff. Fun stuff. So SexDrive was the most answered poll topic last week. I had made a poll. Yes, I had made a poll, and most of the people answered that they wanted to learn about sex drive and it not being a drive, and learn about all that. So that is what we did this week. Just kind of touched base on that. Obviously, we could talk about that forever and ever and ever, but we don't have forever and ever.
That's right. You know, the big thing is some people argue about the word drive and that we shouldn't call it a sex drive because sex is not a drive. It's not one of those forces in our lives that we absolutely have to have. You can live without sex. You cannot live without food, water, shelter, things like that. Those are the things that when somebody says the word drive, that's what they think of. But we call sex a drive, and it shouldn't be called a drive. Why is that?
Using it, you obviously think of different things too, but we shouldn't call it a drive just because for the simple fact that, yeah, we can survive without genital stimulation. To be real honest with you, we can survive without going around and humping things to get it off. If we were to be without food for a certain amount of time, our brains will over control our bodies, and we will do anything we can to eat whatever we can to survive. If sex was a drive, we would be randomly having people get off at random times because their body is going to need that at a certain point. So that's kind of why it's not a drive. But you made a valid point as well to me earlier about how when most people think about sex drive, when you think about sex, you think about genital stimulation and getting off and orgasming, where obviously sex is such a broader thing. But that's what you think of when you think about sex drive. Like, my significant other doesn't want to have sex. My significant other doesn't want to have sex. That's just what they think. But you made a very valid point about how when people also think of sex drive, it's so much more that they're thinking of, but not really realizing it. So, and you had made a valid point, so go ahead with that.
So, yeah, we were talking about libido, and Freud's definition of libido being that it's your drive to live. And we don't have to have sex to live. Okay, we need to procreate in order to continue the human race, but we don't have to have sex
to survive.
Actual penis and vagina, making babies kind of sex, which is what most people think of when you say the word sex. We don't have to have that to live. However, we do need connection. We need connection in a way that makes us feel valued. And a really interesting study that was done, this was a sociologist wrote all about this, and I found it very interesting, and it's so true about how people need touch. First of all, infants who are born in hospitals and they don't have a mother, or they're really ill, maybe something has happened to mom, they actually have people come in and do that skin to skin contact with them because it actually helps them thrive. And so there were these rabbits in this study. So you've got this top row of rabbits here, and they were fed this high fat diet, and they were doing cholesterol testing on them. And then you had these rabbits here on the bottom who were getting their healthier, leafy lettuce and carrot diet. And all of the rabbits on top were getting sicker and sicker because of this high fat diet that was bad for them, and eventually getting sicker and sicker and died, except for one that just continued to thrive and be healthy, just like the rabbits on the bottom. So the scientist decided he was going to stay late one night and find out what the hell was going on. So he's sitting there, and the custodian comes in, grabs this rabbit off the top, sits down in a chair with him, and just loves on this rabbit for an hour, just petting him and talking to him. And so the scientist talks to this custodian. He's like, do you do this every day? And the custodian's like, yes, every day I spend 30 minutes on my lunch and I come in here and spend time with this rabbit. And that rabbit survived in spite of the unhealthy diet and everything because of the love and affection that it was receiving. So that shows you right there that it does make a difference. So whereas SexDrive, we don't have this human need to get it on, but we do have that human need for intimacy and affection. And what I really hope people who are watching understand is that sex is that whole picture. It's not just this. There's so much more to it than that.
Or this.
Or this. Whatever. Okay, it's more than that, people. More than that.
Yes. It is very much more than that. So yeah, and I think that we can both agree that when any couple really complains about whether it's their own sex drive or their significant other's sex drive, they're really just craving connection. And maybe it is that you just really just want to get off, but to be real honest with you, 9 times out of 10, you're just wanting that connection. You're wanting to be touched. You're needing that. You're craving that. And yes, don't get me wrong, good genital stimulation will get you going for the day. But,
yeah, I mean, orgasms are amazing. Yeah. They're wonderful, but they're not the end all be all. And as long as we are feeling like I have to look at my wife and immediately have that spontaneous desire, that right there is where things start getting muddled up. So let's talk about that spontaneous versus responsive desire here for a minute.
Yeah, definitely. So spontaneous and responsive desire. What is that, I guess? Before we start flinging things out that people may not know, we definitely want you to know. We want you to understand. So spontaneous desire is like you had just said,
Boing.
Just seeing it, yeah. Like the little cartoon guy walking around, and then he sees a cartoon girl with big double D titties, and then he just instantly gets an erection. Boing.
Yeah, it just happens. It just happens.
It does. That is natural stuff. I mean, and then go ahead with the responsive desire.
So responsive desire, that's when maybe you are in the kitchen, you're doing dishes, and your partner walks up behind you and gives you a caress or a little nibble on your ear, or whispers a sweet nothing. It could be a note on the mirror that she writes to you, and I love you so much, I can't wait to see you tonight. And you start feeling this desire. So it's this desire that is in response to an action that your partner has done. And we're talking about partners here a lot. It's not that we're not caring about people who don't have partners. It's just this, most of the people who answer this, we start feeling like sex drive changes in relationships, and that's kind of what we're dealing with here today.
Yeah, definitely. Not saying that, your sex drive cannot be an issue if you are single, alone, or not with a partner. It's just more common in couples. So that's kind of why we're saying that. Yeah, definitely. Why don't you give the example of going out kind of, so if somebody's still kind of confused on what spontaneous and responsive desire is, just kind of maybe give them a little relatable.
Sure. So that spontaneous desire, hey, I want to go to the movies. Okay, you want to go, you're excited to go, versus your friend gives you a call, hey, do you want to go out with us? Oh, no, not really. Oh, come on, let's go out. Okay, I'll go out. It's not going to be fun, but I'm going to go. And you go out and you end up meeting your best friend in the whole world, and you guys have now been best friends for 15 years. Or you meet your husband, or you have the experience of a lifetime. Okay, that's responsive.
Or you just have a really good night.
Yeah, you weren't expecting it. You weren't necessarily even looking forward to it, and then bam, something really wonderful happened. sex can be like that too.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, and that's why we are also saying partnered as well, is because, you know, it's just one of the tips we kind of even mentioned in our little diagram of how to increase sex drive and libido. And so we like to share just a little tip and trick. And with that, you know, I don't really feel like it, but if you kind of do it anyway, you know, maybe you might really like it in the end. You know, oh, I'm glad I decided to give you a blowjob, honey. You know, I really did like it, you know, even though you didn't really want to. You know,
Yeah, I mean, it's
we're not
like
saying, obviously,
exercising.
yeah, we're not saying don't have sex when you don't want to. We're not saying to accept it from anybody. This is why we're talking about partnered, or at least a trusted, you know, person that you are having sex with.
Yeah.
You
Let's
know,
use me as an example because my relationship is a little bit non-traditional.
mm-hmm.
I am 42 years old. My husband is 28 years old. So
I'm still
he
gonna go whoop whoop
whoop whoop.
every time you say that. Whoop whoop.
You know, I am getting into that. I've had a hysterectomy because I had cancer, had a hysterectomy, and all of that. So my hormones don't always play nice. Okay. Hormones are one of those things that really can mess up your sex drive. They can make you feel like you don't want to have sex at all. And I am very much one of those people where I could be really happy getting, you know, he could give me a foot massage and I could be satisfied. Um, Not that I don't like to have an orgasm because I really do, but I can be perfectly satisfied with having a back rub or having him sit and love on me. My love language is touch, so I need a lot of that. But with our age difference, um, I want to continue to have sex with him. I want to have sex, whether I'm feeling it or not. I want to. And what makes me want to have sex with him more is having sex with him. So he
And
knows.
why is that though? Why is it that that changes your mind? Can you explain that a little bit?
I can. You know, here's the thing. I'm not having that spontaneous desire at the moment. He's like, "Hey, sweetheart, you want to have sex?" I'm like, "Not really, but hey, will you rub my feet for a little bit?" And so he'll rub my feet, and then that will end up, and you know, that will start making me feel connected with him, and then that connection is like, "Hey, let's go a little bit further."
Yeah.
Or still not maybe I'm still not in quite in that mood yet, but he knows and I know, both of us know that once he starts touching me and stimulating me, I am going to react and be responsive to that.
Yeah.
So
And I
I
know that
might
there's
have.
a lot of people listening to that really do have, you know, mentioned that they have some sex drive issues, or their significant other does. They seem to have low libido as well. And as you're talking, you know, as the things go on, I know that there's a few people that are even probably still really like, that still doesn't work. Well, why do you think that that still doesn't work? Like, you and I both agree that it's because you're not letting yourself be in the moment. And this
Yeah.
is everything comes into play when it comes to sex drive and libido. Stressors, work,
Yep.
house chores, kids, blah, 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 blah.
You're worried
Finances.
about,
You're
do I
worried about
smell
everything.
funny? Do I smell funny down there? Do I, am I going to fart?
Yeah.
I had a big
You hope
dinner. I'm a
not.
little gassy, I mean, hey, I mean, all this stuff happens. You know, we
I
worry.
did read real quick on Facebook, so it's true,
Oh God, yes,
that
absolutely.
the more you smell your significant other's farts, the longer you'll live.
I read that too.
It's gotta be
I'm
true,
gonna
right?
live forever.
Forever. Why not
Oh
bring
my
it
God,
into the sexy
that's
time?
great. But I mean, we worry so much. Look, I'm a big girl, okay? I don't always love my body. Sometimes I eat too damn much. And, we'll go out for dinner, go out and have a nice dinner, and you eat a steak and a baked potato and a salad and dessert. And you're like, when you get home, you feel like that. When you're feeling like that, the last thing that you want to do is have sex.
Girl, Can I please interrupt?
Absolutely.
Fun little tidbit about me and my husband. We always try to plan our date nights. And it's either food or sex. It's never both.
Never both. But
it's never like, let's go to the prime rib buffet and go home and get really fucking just nasty sexy and have wonderful sex. No.
You don't have wonderful sex when your stomach is full.
No, it's either one or the other. You cannot have both pleasures. And I know maybe human Sunday, but girl, I'm a foodie. Most women are. I'm sorry, they are. You're going to pick the ribeyes sometimes.
And sometimes you do, and that's absolutely okay. Like, absolutely okay. And but all of that affects everything. Yeah. Like, I know if I want to get busy with my sweetheart, I'm going to eat a little bit lighter throughout the day because I don't want to have a full stomach and I don't want to worry about farting. Yeah. I don't want to have to take a crap right before I go and have sex. Like, I just
don't eat Chinese then.
I don't want to worry about any of that. And, you know, so there's so much that we have to think about. It's not just about, I'm going to get it on and I'm going to have an orgasm.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah, it's not orgasm driven. It's not it shouldn't even be genital stimulation driven. I mean, when people, I'm sorry, that's the first thing that I think of when I hear
that's what masturbation
sex drive or libido is. That's just what I think of. Oh, yeah. My husband doesn't want to have sex anymore, or my wife doesn't, want to touch me anymore. Well, that's what it is. Right the fuck there. You just said it. You're not looking for the sex, the genital.
You're looking for the touch, the connection, the love.
Yes. And, orgasm, if it happens, great, wonderful. But, and again, it could also be performance driven, like we were discussing before too. Don't concentrate on the orgasm, concentrate on the pleasure, concentrate on what's happening to your body at a certain moment. If you let your brain override everything, which is way, way harder than I'm making it sound easy. It is super hard to do, but I mean, there's exercises and activities that you can do to be more mindful of the situation that's happening at hand. And again, communication, compromise, everything kind of comes into play with improving your sex drive as well. So,
and we know that people might listen to this and get really offended and upset. And this is the tiny, tiny tip of the iceberg, okay, guys? We are not saying that anybody's doing anything wrong. Yeah. What we're saying is if you're not happy with your sex life and you feel like your libido or sex drive is low or your partner's is low, something can be done about it. If you want, something can be done about it. Always.
Yes, having more sex is just a helpful tip.
That's just one of the many, many things. I talked about hormones. I have a doctor's appointment next week to go and get all of my shit checked out. Yeah. I have next Thursday, I'm meeting with
hormones for men and women.
Oh, God, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I didn't post that little, the little picture, the little wave thing. So, we kind of think of men's sex drive kind of just being like this, and it's pretty steady, right? Mm-hmm. And then women's are like all over the place. And it actually can be that way for both men and women. And there's so many factors that come into play. Just please know that there's so much more to it. Don't give up. There are people who they're paralyzed from the neck down, and they still have wonderful, amazing sex lives.
They do. Yes.
Can. Do not give up. Don't give up on you. Don't give up on your partner.
No, it is absolutely worth every single thing you look for help. You ask your friends for advice or whatever. That's great and fine and wonderful. Just don't ever give up. Reach out however you see fit. If depression or anxiety or maybe OCD compulsiveness is in the play of your relationship or even with yourself, and this, you're aware of this and it's controlling your life, get help for that. Get help with your sexuality, with being your sexy self and enjoying life to its utmost pleasurable potential.
Absolutely.
Get help and don't give up. Yes.
Absolutely. Remember that when we say drive, that originally libido was your drive to live. So it's not just about what's happening in the bedroom.
No.
It's the whole life. Are
Yeah.
you living the life that you love, that you want? You're living your passion. You know, when you're living your passion, then that passion can come out in the bedroom too.
Oh, yeah.
So there's just it's ridiculous how much there is into it, and that's why it's such a big issue.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, is there anything else that we should say?
Oh my gosh, we could talk about this for days and days and days, but I think we got our message across.
Yes, definitely.
All righty.
Cool.
Please,
Well,
definitely message us, comment. We would love to continue having this conversation because it's such an important one to have. So go on in there and join us in this conversation. Let us know. Ask good questions. We've got that anonymous option up there to ask anonymous questions. So make sure that you do that.
and also to keep in mind that this is still, you can post whatever you want to post and get everybody else's opinion as well.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what topic we're having that week. That's for us and our organization. Yeah. And yeah, you guys just post away.
Post away. If you do, if you want it public and you want the other members' advice or opinions, we do love hearing advice and opinions from other people and reading it. It actually helps us.
It helps everybody grow. We might be good at what we do. That doesn't mean that we don't still have places to grow. And we would love it if you could ask us questions that stump us and we have to go and find answers from other people and talk to other people about it. So absolutely.
Let's do a quick recap of what's going on next week.
Yes, definitely.
So next week's going to be a little different, guys. I have hip surgery on Thursday, and I will not be able to do a live video on Thursday, but we are going to have it on Wednesday, and our next week is going to be about pain, chronic pain, injury pain, short-term pain, just pain in general, and how we maneuver sex. I also feel that it's extremely important to also touch base that I suffer from rheumatoid arthritis as well. And we are also going to, which is an autoimmune disease and causes pain. But we're also going to have a guest speaker next week. We're going to do a live video on Wednesday, and her name is Penny, and she suffers from fibromyalgia. And she's also a wonderful part of the of a nudist colony as well, and she does fire play. So we look forward to talking to her maybe a little bit about that in the future. But yeah, pain and sex and how it affects our sex lives next week.
Yay.
All right.
Okay. We'll see y'all later.
Bye.